There are certain stores in the US that you can just walk into and be offered a bag right on the spot without really having to buy anything else. Hi guys, my name is G.P.S. and welcome back to my channel. I did a video on the 5 most commonly publicized myths about the Birkin bag a couple of weeks ago, and I got so much great feedback from you guys that I decided to do a part 2. So today we'll be busting 5 more quite popular misconceptions about scoring a Birkin bag and Hermes in general. And I love making these videos because I understand that Hermes can be a brand that's quite intimidating considering how secretive they are, especially when it comes to their highly priced bags. So if you're new to the brand, it can be quite difficult to find reliable information and advice online, especially because there is so much misinformation floating around out there that is presented as facts. So I love sharing my experience and my take, as I have been loving and collecting the brand for many years. So if you want to find out the truth about the mysterious world of Hermes, then please keep on watching. The first one that I wanted to discuss is that there are certain stores in the US that you can just walk into and be offered a bag right on the spot without really having to buy anything else. And I think the 2 hotspots that people mainly refer to are the store in Waikiki and one of the 3 stores in Las Vegas. And while each store has their own policies, I do find that stores located in popular tourist destinations tend to have a more lenient policy when it comes to releasing the Birkins and KYLIEs, even if you don't have a long and extensive purchase history with the brand. So obviously, I'm not saying that you're guaranteed to be offered a bag if you visit any one of these stores, or you should be walking into these stores demanding that you get offered a bag. However, I think your chances are a little bit higher because the amount of tourists that shop at these stores tends to be much higher compared to locals. So of course, while they do still serve their local clientele, they do have a little bit of space to give bags to those who are only there for a couple of days or perhaps weeks. I would suggest that you perhaps go in, see if there's anything catches your eye, and if there is, just pick that piece up, add it to your profile, and engage in a conversation with an essay, express your interest for a Birkin or KYLIE, and see if they've had any good shipments recently, see if there's anything that they have seen or heard of coming in that could potentially interest you. Because I do find that there is a good chance that they will be able to offer you something if you approach this the right way, and of course if you're nice to them. Myth number 2 is that the first bag is always the hardest one to get, whether we're talking about a Birkin or KYLIE, and I personally completely agree with this. I'm not sure if it's just more of a psychological thing that when you request your bag, it just feels like absolute eternity until you finally get a call from your SA, no matter how long it takes. And every single time you go into a store and they have nothing to offer to you, it just feels like a disappointment. And it can really feel like a lifetime until you finally get the bag of your dreams. I probably had to wait for about 4 to 5 months for my very first Birkin from the time that I expressed my interest. So I know that there are people out there who wait for much longer than that, but it did feel like absolute eternity to me. But every single bag after that just came quite easy, I feel like, and I'm not sure if just the fact that I've already had a bag gave me some confidence and it made me realize that it's actually not an impossible task to hunt down one of these bags. But I do think that once you have your very first bag down, every single bag that you request after is going to be like child's play. If you guys still enjoy this topic, what I'm thinking about doing for part 3 is perhaps asking you guys to leave some of the most common misconceptions and misinformation that you are familiar with, or just simply myth that you're not sure about. Make sure to leave them in the comment section down below of this video, and perhaps I can address them in part 3 if that's something that would be interesting to you guys. Myth number 3 is, I think, one of the biggest misconceptions floating around out there, which is that you're guaranteed to be offered a Birkin or a KYLIE in Paris without having to buy anything. So this statement, in my opinion, is false, and let's break down why. First of all, this statement is quite generic. It talks about Paris, but in Paris there are 3 stores, and only one of them, the global flagship, has this policy that you can make an appointment online with the leather department and you can request pretty much anything made of leather during that appointment. But even if you get one of those appointments, it's still not guaranteed that you'll be offered a Birkin, a KYLIE, or quite frankly, anything for that matter. I have friends who have been to Paris quite recently, I think towards the end of last year, and some of them were lucky enough to get an appointment, but some of them, first of all, didn't even get an appointment. And even my friends who got an appointment were not offered anything really desirable. So it's absolutely not guaranteed that you will be offered anything, even if you get a chance to obviously go into the leather department of the Hermes footwork store, which is the global flagship. Nowadays, it's pretty much as difficult to get a bag at the global flagship as it is anywhere else. I think the biggest advantage that they still have is the fact that they don't really look at your purchase history, and also the pricing is just so much better in France in general than anywhere else in the world. But personally, I don't think that's what the brand is all about. If you're going to spend any amount of money on a luxury bag, I don't think you should be scrambling to get an appointment and then when you're there to have all this pressure on you. I just don't think that's what the brand is all about. But this statement is absolutely not true that you're guaranteed to get a bag when you're in Paris, because you need to get an appointment first of all at the footwork store.
And it's not enough to just be in Paris.
So I would personally recommend that you start building a relationship with your local store, wherever it may be, and pick up pieces here and there with an essay that you think you can click with and someone that you think would help you explore the brand. Because if you're going to spend any amount of money, you want to make the experience enjoyable. And it might take a little bit longer for you to get a bag, or perhaps a little bit more money, and you might have to save up for a little bit longer. But at the same time, trust me, it's going to be much more of a pleasant and luxurious experience. Myth number 4 is that it's not worth paying the premium of the resale market. You should always go directly to the store. I think it all depends on what you're looking for, and in my personal opinion, this statement is completely false. I think for some people, the pre-loved and resale market can be a much better choice, especially if you're not really looking for anything else from the brand. You're solely interested in the Birkins and the KYLIEs. You're going to have to spend much less money on the premium that resellers and pre-loved markets charge than what you would have to spend at a store to start building your profile. So I think for some people, it can be a great choice. It all depends on what you're looking for. If you're only looking for 1 or 2 bags and you have very specific needs, then I think it's worth looking at some of the resellers. I have an entire video dedicated to some of the biggest resale sites that I'm going to have linked up here. In my opinion, it's perfectly fine to go to the pre-loved or the resale market, especially nowadays when there are so many of them out there. And as I mentioned, you're probably going to have to spend the same amount of money at a store that you would have to spend with a reseller. The only difference is that you might not get the bag of your dreams wrapped up by an Hermes essay, but you'll get exactly whatever you want, whenever you want it, and in whatever condition you want it in. So it all depends on whether you're interested in building a relationship with the company or not, because if you're only interested in getting one bag, I would recommend that you go down the route of resellers. But if you're passionate about the brand and you love what they stand for, then I would definitely recommend that you take your time, slowly build your profile piece by piece, and just be patient and wait until they offer you something that you're going to be absolutely happy with. And last but not least, the myth that I wanted to make sure that I bust in this video is that there is a set amount of money that you're required to spend at a store to qualify for a bag. And I actually get a bunch of questions on this on a lot of my videos, people asking me how much they need to spend to get a bag offered to them from the store. And there isn't a set amount. It's more about how diverse your profile is. You need to express to the brand that you have a passion for the company, and your profile needs to represent that. Whenever the store manager is going to look at your profile to approve a bag release for you, they're going to make sure that you have explored different facets of the company. So rather than focusing on the amount spent, you should focus on picking up pieces from different categories of the company. And I have an entire video on how to score a bag from the store that I'm going to have linked up here, where I share with you guys a bunch of tips and tricks. So don't think that there's a set amount of money that you need to spend and you should go out of your comfort zone and spend thousands of dollars to be able to get a bag. Make sure that you explore the brand and explore each facet of the company, but definitely stay within your comfort zone. It's not a thing that you should be spending, I don't know, $20,000. Only spend whatever you're comfortable with. And as I mentioned, make sure that you focus on enjoying different product categories rather than focusing on numbers. And this is it, guys. This completes part 2 of my Busting Hermes Myth series. I hope you guys enjoyed this, and if you wanted me to make a part 3, then please make sure to leave some misinformations or misconceptions in the comment section down below for me that I can react to in the next video. And if you enjoyed this, then please make sure to give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe. And as always, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you being here, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye!